Hello, friends. My name is Dwayne. Welcome to Monday's lesson. I hope you're ready to be engaged and to dip one more time into these beautiful themes of those who are blessed because they believe. Blessed are those who believe. Do you believe? Do you believe? I hope you believe. Hope you believe a little more today. Well, let's look at the witness of Mary in John chapter 12. Mary, Martha, and Lazarus were good friends of Jesus. Their home was one of those homes where Jesus could go recline and just be himself. But the Bible tells us 6 days before the Passover, he is at the home of Simon, who had been healed of leprosy. And Simon is throwing a huge feast. And Mary and Martha, Lazarus are there. Lazarus is reclining, just chilling out. But the Bible says that Mary does something interesting. She takes a jar of very expensive perfume. Some scholars believe it was a year's wages worth. In order to purchase this perfume, she had intended to anoint Jesus's body, after his death, after his burial. But she's moved in this moment. She's moved partially because of what Jesus had done for her. He had cast out demons out of her. She loves him. She appreciates him. She thanks him for who he is. And sometimes when Jesus has done something magnificent in our lives, we ought to not just keep it internally. There ought to be some external expression of God's goodness to us. People should know. The Bible says that she takes that fragrance, she begins to anoint Jesus with that fragrance, and then something breaks out in the middle of this story in John chapter 12. The Bible says that the fragrance begins to fill the entire house, and guess who notices? Judas notices. Judas is upset. This expensive fragrance could have been sold for a lot of money, and it could have benefited the poor, and John gives us this note in chapter 12, I believe in verse 6. He says he didn't say this because, he cared about the poor, but because he was holding the money bag and was stealing from it. So he wished that she had given that money into the disciples' treasury, the little treasury box that they had, that they would pay their little expenses from. And then he would be able to get his paws on it, his hands on it, and he would be able to steal it. That's what Judas was really about. Jesus knows what's in the heart of people. Jesus knows what's in our hearts. Jesus knows what's in our hearts. He knows what's in the hearts of men and women. He knows what's in Mary's heart. And then he says to Judas, listen, let her alone. Let her alone. The poor you'll have with you always, but I won't be with you always. Let her do for me what she done. Ellen White makes a beautiful commentary on Mary's act. And even though she intended to anoint him before his burial, to testify that he was who he claimed to be, king, she did it while he was alive. And this act was one that Jesus looked upon during his trial as a first fruits, a type of first indication of the kind of praise and affirmation that would come from those who would be redeemed by his sacrifice. Mary testified. Will you testify today? I hope you will. Happy Monday.